President Cyril Ramaphosa will deliver the eulogy at the official memorial service for King Goodwill Zwelithini. Final preparations for today's memorial in honor of the late Zulu monarch are now well underway. As one of the longest-serving kings in the AmaZulu royal monarchy, he's been lauded for consolidating the Zulu culture and for calming tensions at the peak of political fighting in KZN. My co-anchor Ayanda Nyathi is at the Quarteto Mtandayo Royal Palace for us this morning in KwaNongoma. That's where the king was interred late last night. Ayanda, we're told the actual memorial service will get underway at around 10 o'clock this morning, but already a lot of activity there where you are.
Yeah, in fact, Michelle, what we've heard from some of the people at the heart of that activity you speak about is that many of them actually didn't sleep overnight because they had been working so hard to try and ensure that everything is in place for the arrival of the president, amongst many other high-profile dignitaries. We've moved to a different location, but in case you missed it, of course, a lot of what needs to happen now is a consideration for COVID-19. So part of what's being done at the actual location where the memorial service will be taking place here in the Quarteto Mtandayo Royal Palace is to ensure that there's enough social distancing. From some of the organizers that we've spoken to, we've been told that 200-odd dignitaries will be able to fit despite the limitations brought on by this measure. And of course, as soon as the president arrives and those proceedings get underway, we'll be back in that venue to get you a sense of how this will take place. As mentioned before, incredibly complex to try bid farewell to a royal, a king, who's been lauded far and wide in these regions in the midst of a global health crisis. That said, though, even though COVID-19 has changed some things, other things remain the same. If you are to bring a lot of people to one venue, you need to make sure that they're all well fed and that this happens in the correct ways. This needs to take place in adherence to some of the practices that need to be observed within the royal house. And believe it or not, Michelle, there are actually people who in some respects are given the honor of carrying out that role, and behind me are some of those men who work incredibly hard, sometimes overnight as well, to ensure that we get the meat at the right places in the right times. I'm going to bring in Ubaba Mandlakayise Qwabe, who is iNgwazi la Quarteto Mtandayo and is among these individuals who I've just described. Baba, sibonga isikhathi sakho la kwa Newsroom 405. Sibonga kakhulu nokukhuluma nathi. Mhlawumbe singaqala baba usichazele indima oyidlalayo ngalesikhathi.
Bayet. Wena wendlo hlanga lomhlaba. Sanibona. Cha, mina ngiMandlakayise Qwabe. La silapha ngomcimbi wembube, ukushiwa imbube esigodlweni. Ngisebenza lo msebenzi wokuba iNgwazi nokubhekelela umphakathi ukuthi udla kanjani. Osikweni lokuba iNgwazi la esigodlweni inkomo yakhona ayiboshwa ngentambo uma ngabe izobulawa. NgokwesiZulu kuthathwa umkhonto wesiZulu, insimbi exhunywe ogodweni, uyikake inkomo nebutho. Uma uyikaka nebutho inkomo ihamba phakathi kwezinye inkomo, uyicathamele, uyigxumele, uyijombele, ibaleke, uyishaye ngomkhonto la ohlangothini lwesandla sokudla, ebese igcina ngokuwa phansi. Usiko lwakwaZulu lolo olwenza lokho ngenxa yokuthi babamkhulu oShaka babesebenzisa umkhonto, bengasebenzisi ummese ukuthi inkomo ikhungwe, ngoba usuke usuyibophile isifana nento esisejele, awusayenzi ukuthi ihambe ngokosiko lwayo, ukuthi kufanele ma ilwa nayo ikwazi ukubaleka ngokulwa kwayo njengoba isukilwa nenye inkomo. Nawe usuke ucuphe khona ukubaleka ukuthi ilwe nawe, uyayigwaza ubaleke njengeNgwazi.
Manje baba, sazi ukuthi lo umsebenzi ongamele uthathe kancane, niba ingakhi uma senoyenza lo msebenzi?
Ngaphakathi kuleli khaya lasesigodlweni siba babili noma bathathu, kodwa kuyakhethwa abantu abazi ngokosiko lakwaZulu nabantu abazi umthetho wasesigodlweni, ngoba ukugwaza inkomo esibayeni kufana nohlangothi lwasegcekeni. Egcekeni akuhanjwa noma ikuphi, kunendawo ehamba isizwe, kunendawo ehamba abantwana, kunendawo esibayeni okungadingi ukuthi kungene noma ngubani esibayeni. Bayakhethwa abantu okufanele bangene esibayeni njengabantu abethembekile nabahloniphekile nabahloniphayo abazi umthetho ukuthi noma ungena esibayeni unokukhuleka unokuhlonipha. Izona zonke izinto ezidala ukuthi nikhethwe nikwazi ukuphatha ngaphakathi esigodlweni.
Sekudlula isikhathi esingakanani baba wena uyiNgwazi kuleli khaya?
Ngokungabi isikhathi esiningi onyakeni kuyenzeka kube ziqubu ezintathu, mhlawumbe kuba khona ezinye iziqubu engingabi bikho ngazo abe khona uzakwethu asebenze lo msebenzi. Ngingeke ngikwazi ke ukubala ukuthi isikhathi esingakanani ngikhona ngoba unyaka nonyaka kubuthwa ibutho sibe khona, kukhona impahla zamabutho, kukhona impahla zamaphoyisa, kukhona impahla zabantwana, kanjalo zibulawa kanjalo impahla. NjengeNgwazi uba khona noma ngiba khona ngaleso sikhathi leso engisuke ngikhona ngaso.
Cha baba, siyabonga, sibonga incazelo yakho wayibeka ikwazakwala, sibonge kakhulu. Thank you. So that there is Ubabu Mandlakayise Qwabe, who is iNgwazi. So, I mean, I'm going to try and loosely translate what really reads and sounds like poetry, Michelle. A lot of what he's had to say is that the ways through which even a cow is slaughtered during a ceremony like this needs to take place with clear intention and clear observances. In fact, what stuck out in part of his explanation is that unlike in many other circumstances where, for instance, you'd isolate a cow, take it to a slaughterhouse and go forth to slaughter it, what needs to happen in this type of context is you actually need to target the cow whilst it is still in the kraal. You can't use a knife to actually end the cattle's life. You actually need to use I think it would translate quite loosely to a kind of a stick, a stick with a sharp end. This is where translations, I guess, get us lost in the meaning. But it really is quite a powerful image, because at the heart of that is that what he says is that you need to ensure that the cow itself is not jailed so that it leaves this world as free as it can. So we'll certainly try continue to capture those sentiments for you.